I see you have come to hear the second part of our story. If you missed the first, go see the elder over there. Otherwise, take a seat and enjoy." The elder waited for the children to sit. It was true that his telling was not as popular as Sosa's sacrifice, but he felt it was just as important. Once they were settled, he leant over and grabbed his clay tablets. Pristine and extremely rare, they contained the teachings of the founding of Kamu. His part was to tell of what happened when his people first discovered the caves. After the Sosa dies, the first thing that everyone feel is the heat. Some of the spiritualists will tell ya that this heat is Sosa's loving heart burning into the stone after her sacrifice. He was dismayed to see some of the children nod and smile at this. This is not true. The elder paused to let this sink in. The spiritualists in the cave were a branch of Evrone that believed Sosa was the reason for life in these caves, and was birthed from her desire to save her people. They think that following their spiritual path will lead to gaining the power Sosa supposedly used to create Kamu for them. The truth was that the caves had been here many years before Evrone had ever stood foot in them. Hidden underground for centuries with few paths to the surface and even fewer reasons to go there, an entire ecosystem had evolved. One robust enough to also support the Evrone, as long as certain societal standards that were laid down in the founding of this place were upheld. The Evrone had not felt the heat for many beats of drum. It was almost a new sensation to them. The elder was of course referring to the drum that was played that marked morning and night on the surface. When his people had first started to live completely underground, it had become apparent that, even though their minds had no wish for it, their bodies still needed that mechanism to register when it was time to work and when it was time to sleep. And so now, a drum played twice for the morning, 4 times for the night. Without this, living in the caves would cause their minds and bodies to break. He continued to read from the clay tablet. The first Evrone stood on awe of the system we now take for granted. Imagine you not eat for days, no proper water to drink. Then you have walls of ripe wild berry and water fresher than you ever tasted. The Evrone lost themselves in this moment. Sosa's sacrifice had gone unnoticed as they gorged themselves on the fruits and drank from the lakes. Her body lay still and lifeless, never seeing the salvation she found for her people. He paused to let this moment hang in their minds. The story was as much about temptation and greed as it was about the birthing of his people. It was a story of what happens when you lose sight of what is truly important. Many of the Evrone become sick very quick, many vomit, some even die. The berries were not all good to eat, and we lose sight because they look juicy. Reality hit the Evrone hard, and the ones well enough to realized they had left Sosa's body on the hard stone ground. Consumed by their wants and desires, the Evrone felt shame for their behavior and losing sight of what is important to our survival. They made the choice to not take for granted again what Sosa had given them. The elder went on to explain to the children that the founding members of Kamu, their home, had written down their story for future generations to remember. They also outlined decrees for which the Evrone were to live by to ensure their future within the safety of the caves. Now they honour Sosa with a shrine at the entrance of Kamu, so those that come and go can remember what she has done for her people. Now children, what is the most important thing our founders discovered this day? He fielded many answers, some said food, some water, even more said the heat. One particularly bright child said that they discovered to take too much from the caves was to their own people's detriment. He smiled at this, as it was one of the key points that he was trying to make. Regardless of what the spiritualists tried to push with their beliefs, equilibrium with the caves was a must for the Evrone. That is a very good answer, child. Maybe you will one day tell this story as I do, he smiled at her. But no, the most important thing we discovered that day was each other. Our floors laid bare, are personal challenges to overcome, and that if we sacrifice for each other, as Rozsy did, then the Evrone once hunted near extinction will live forever.